Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for an absolute treat today. Ortal is going to be rocking the house. So really get excited. Make sure you're prepared to take notes because she's going to be giving us the heat. So I'm pulling up the iTunes review of the week just to make sure that we have that handy for us because, oh my gosh, I love this show. I love becoming your greatest possible self. I love the whole mindset about it. I love the whole philosophy about it. And every single day is the best day ever when we're listening to Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self and watching it too. I love watching it too. So Ortal is going to be coming on here in a couple minutes. I do want to talk about this theme though, how to increase your influence. Oh my gosh, so inspired by Ortal because she is like a freaking powerhouse. And if you want to know how to increase your influence, I want you to type in the comments influence so that we can get that picture. And if you're watching live or the replay, either way, type it in because we want to know if you're committed to growing your influence and increasing that, because Ortal is the one who's going to help you do it. She has hundreds of thousands of followers on freaking Instagram. It's like mind blowing. She is so powerful, kicking butt, taking names. I love seeing her feed every day. I look at it, I'm like, man, I really admire this. This is impressive, girl. This is impressive. So she's going to be coming on here in a couple minutes. Before that, though, let's make sure we get this iTunes review of the week. So, by the way, if you guys didn't know about this, I'm going to share about this again in a bit, but you go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, and you'll find it. You'll find our show, and you'll be able to review it there. We appreciate that if you're able to do that, and you can also check it out there and be able to listen at your own convenience, whether you're driving, whether you are doing other things, you can absolutely find it there. All right, so we got Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Boom shakalaka. There we go. And we have 91 ratings. That's awesome. I just want to give myself a pat on the back right now for getting the 91 ratings, kicking butt, taking names, because, oh my goodness gracious, like, it's awesome. I think it's so awesome that when you keep putting in the time and the energy to build something, it absolutely pays off. So I'm super proud of myself, proud of all the guests who've come on. We've interviewed about 415 guests now in the last year and a half, and it just keeps growing and getting better and better. So I'm so stoked about this, so excited about what we're creating, and it gets better and better. So I have August 15th. Boom. Okay, we got some reviews here. We got Rico, who we shared about. We had Melissa C. We got Rosie Rosebud. Oh my gosh. Cynthia Sundance. I like that one. I like Cynthia Sundance. All right, perfect. Cool. So what we're going to do now is make sure that everything is optimized and we're ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to make sure that the feed is coming through strong so that when Ortal comes on, everything is perfecto. And if you guys have any questions for Ortal, if you have any questions about how to grow your Instagram, make sure you drop those in the comments because she's going to be here for about the next hour or so, answering your questions and helping you to become your greatest possible self, helping you to increase your influence. Petia says she is such a queen, Ortal Levitan. Yes, she is. Absolutely. Petia wrote influence. Love it. And I'm also going to share this out right now so we can get some more people knowing about Ortal and finding out about her mastery and her wisdom. So we have live. I love sharing it to groups that let you share your live feeds. I love that. I love that there's so many different groups that are creating that. Facebook Live, go now. Boom. Okay. So this interview is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching and the 21-Day Challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever and you're committed to getting to your next level, the 21-Day Challenge will help you get crystal clear on your long-term goals, break that down into bite-sized steps, and be able to tackle those on a daily basis. Over 21 days, you'll have a single-minded focus to become your greatest possible self. You'll have daily accountability, weekly check-ins, and you will achieve your top goal. So that's the 21-Day Challenge. If you're interested and committed and ready to be fired up, then send me a message or an email, burnandlearnnow@gmail.com, and would love to hear from you and get you into your next 21-day challenge. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and it's by Cynthia Sundance. And Cynthia says, Chris Burns goes deep for you. Chris Burns' sincere and authentic interviewing style is awesome for both his tribe and his guests. He makes sure each deep, juicy conversation is full of enticing insights, stories, tips, and ideas. Thanks, Chris, for showing up, highlighting your guests, and guiding your tribe, because it takes a village for us to get up each day and share our gifts as entrepreneurs. We all resonate with different folks. We appreciate your dedication. Thanks so much, Cynthia Sundance. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, or you can search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and give us a review like that. So I'm about to read this intro for this incredible human being, Ortal. She's going to come on in a second here, but I highly, highly recommend, before I get into that, you get your pen, you get your paper ready, you get ready to take notes, because she is going to bring some heat and some fire. She has over 250,000 followers on Instagram, and this is like serious stuff. She has incredible engagement. She posts like amazing pictures, and people love her. She's always responding like so fast on all of her comments and all the people who she follows and wants to build those relationships with. So if you want to learn how to build relationships, if you want to learn how to monetize your Instagram, if you want to learn how to attract your clients without spending money, definitely stay tuned for this next hour, because Ortal is going to be sharing some gold, and one idea has the power to change your life forever. So I really recommend you get ready for that idea to be delivered to you. Okay, so Ortal Levitan. Amazing. I love that name. I love it. It's like so unique. So it's one of a kind. Okay, Ortal Levitan is a social media growth specialist and online business coach whose mission is to help entrepreneurs grow their social media and scale their online business without paying tons of money for ads and funnels. Ortal successfully built her huge social media following by sticking to these 3 basic rules: be consistent, be transparent, and help others by always being authentic and honest. And Ortal is here with us to share some massive value. Ortal, you ready to rock this?
I am so ready.
You are ready? Awesome. You're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Ortal, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you coming on. We're going to dive into some amazing information. But really, first off, I acknowledge you for who you are, the consistency that you show up with, your authenticity. It is absolutely incredible. So thank you for being a role model of what's possible with social media. It's absolutely incredible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, especially coming from you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh my gosh. So we're going to dive into today, and I'm sure we're going to cover a lot of this throughout the interview, but it's how to increase your influence. So Ortal, what does that mean for you, like influence? What does that mean for you? And just the tip of the iceberg, what's your focus for increasing your influence?
Okay, so influence, I don't know why, but a lot of people have a really negative association with that word. I was actually talking about that yesterday on my stories, where the word influence has become such a negative thing. And honestly, I don't view it that way. Having influence, if you use it correctly, if you're truly influencing for the better and to help other people, I don't see it as a negative thing at all. In fact, I think in today's world, as an entrepreneur, even as a person, you need to have influence in this world, or else who's going to follow you? Who can you possibly help if you're not influencing anybody?
Right.
And so that's why I really, really love that. I think as an entrepreneur, we all have our own special niche, our own special gift that we can help other people with and we can influence them with.
I love it. And it's almost like everyone has this right to influence, like the people around us, whether it's your family, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your tribe, whether it's, you're building a huge online brand, like we all have that influence. And it's important to recognize that being a leader, being an influencer, being someone who can empower and uplift and serve others, that's part of being a human. It's just at what level do we want to step up to that challenge, to that commitment, to that, responsibility. And you've totally taken that on, and we see the results because of it. So I love how you share that. That's super powerful. And I think we all deserve to be that influencer so that we can make that bigger impact in the people's lives around us. That's incredible, Ortal. So, before we go any further, for people who don't know about you, tell us a little bit more about your Instagram that you're building and your brand and what you do specifically.
Of course. Okay, so I'll actually start from the beginning, because my Instagram is workout_unicorn. That's how I started. I was in the fitness industry. That's what I was really passionate about. That was actually my first business before I launched this business. I would do online health coaching. And then I started noticing that I was obviously gaining traction slowly. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I have a degree in neuroscience. And so coming from Thanks. So coming from like the science background, I was like, okay, I have this platform.
Mm.
How can I like supercharge it? How can I really, maximize the potential for this? And so I started doing a ton, and I'm like not kidding, Chris. I mean a ton of research. Like any waking moment I had, I'd be going on blogs, I'd be going on YouTube videos. I would like try all these things out to see what works and what doesn't. So if you go back to my Instagram from like the early days, like if you really want to go back,
Oh man.
just like the hashtags are all over the place. There's no captions, and the pictures have emojis on them.
I love it.
But yeah, so I was just trying a whole bunch of stuff out, and then I finally figured out like what works, what doesn't work, what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And that's basically how the page started growing. And so I think after I figured out my method, in under a year, I hit 100K, and then from then on, it was just kind of like wildfire.
So like what do you think was your secret sauce in experimentation? Why did your experimentation succeed, and why do you think other people, they're out experimenting, but it doesn't necessarily have the success that you had?
Honestly, like I've got this question a lot. I really think it's boils down to two things. So one, people are afraid to experiment with everything. What do I mean by that? So you'll post a picture and you'll be experimenting with different types of pictures, but your captions or your content will stay very much the same. And so you're afraid to veer and offend anybody or say something that is not generally acceptable or talk about something that you feel passionate about, but might kind of start a little bit of problematic debate online, stuff like that. So that's the first reason that a lot of people are not successful. You're kind of afraid to veer out of that comfort zone, and that's never good. And then the second thing is they're not experimenting with everything. Now, obviously, if you're a scientist, before you start experimenting, you have to have all your variables. Like you have to figure out everything that's going on. And so just experimenting with your pictures or just experimenting with your hashtags is not going to cut it. You need to have kind of everything going on, experimenting with everything, and then you can really figure out what works and what doesn't.
Wow, that's incredible. How did you figure out all those different variables? I mean, is it like hundreds, or is it how do you know?
No, it's not hundreds. Honestly, I think it's 8 or 10. I break it down in my course, but it's 8 or 10 variables that you really need to play around with.
Yeah.
But it took me hours. I'm not kidding. Hours on top of hours of research. I was cross-eyed from watching so many YouTube videos and reading so many blogs. It was ridiculous.
Wow. So would you say one of your advantages was your willingness to study and dig into the research, whereas other people aren't as willing to do that nitty-gritty work and figure out the hashtags, figure out the demographics, test at that deep level?
You kind of touched on all of them. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I'm not saying that to fault people. It's just a lot of times it's very difficult to figure out which information is useful and which is not useful. And so at some point I can also understand it. If this is not your business, you're going to start reading 20 blogs that all contradict each other. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm sick of this. I just want someone to give me the answer. I don't want to read another blog that's going to, steer me in totally off direction.
Right. 100%. I think that's so important to recognize who are we, what is our brand that we want to put out there. And I love how you said about polarizing, being controversial, being willing to have something that could offend people in that experimentation process, because a lot of people are playing it safe. So I want to dive into really the focus of the authenticity, the foundation, the 3 key elements that I mentioned in your intro. How did you discover that is your secret sauce?
Honestly, I love that you said it's my secret sauce. I really think it's my sauce. I wouldn't say it's a secret because I pretty much shout it from the rooftops.
Right.
It's literally all you need to do is just to be authentic. And I know it's so difficult for people because a lot of people go online, they start their page because they're inspired by someone else. And essentially what starts happening is you lose your authentic self and you start becoming kind of a clone of this other person who inspires you, which is great. But it's this isn't you. Nobody can talk like you. Nobody has the same mannerism that you do. Nobody jokes around the way that you do. Right. And so that's a big part of being authentic online is just, be you. Literally be yourself online so that when people see you and meet you in real life, they can be like, oh my gosh, you are exactly the way you are online. This is not 2 different people.
Wow. That's powerful. What do you think it is that causes people to be 2 different people online and offline?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. I've literally never gotten asked that, and I love that you asked that right now. I just think I don't think it's something that we do intentionally, to be honest, because I also suffered from this when I first started. I would go on these like fitness influencers pages and I would see them and I would be so inspired. I was like, okay, I want to dress like that. I want to talk like that. She's so cute. I want to look like that. And it's like, you do it like almost on a subconscious level. It kind of just happens naturally because you're so influenced and so inspired by these people. You just want to kind of reproduce whatever they're doing. Also, another issue is that a lot of people land on, successful people's pages and they're like, oh, this is working for her. This has to work for me. It's like, no, this is not going to work for you because you are not her. You don't have the same target demographic. It's like so many different things are going on here.
That's so confusing though, like, because you try to model success, you try to model what's working, and then you have to figure out what is it that's going to be the right fit for you and the right message for you. Like, what would you say is the biggest access to that? How does someone really figure out what their message is, their authentic message is, so that they feel congruent and aligned with who they really are, both offline and online?
Yeah, that's again another excellent question. So I think it really boils down before people get to what their message is. You really need to sit down and figure out who this message is speaking to. A lot of times we'll see people create content before they figure out who the heck they're creating content for. And so it's like if you're trying to target, we'll say like health coaches, but all you're talking about is food on your page, you're not going to be attracting health coaches. You're going to be attracting foodies and food bloggers and people that want recipes. And so before you can create your authentic self online, you need to figure out who's going to be interested in this self and create content and show up for them in a way that, would be appealing to them. And it's obviously appealing to you as well.
Yeah. What would you say was the biggest mistake that you made in figuring out who is your perfect target avatar or perfect client or perfect, viewer on your Instagram?
Right. So I want to first off start by saying that has constantly changed. Like I said, my page started off as a fitness page, and then I shifted into my real passion, which is social media. And so obviously my avatar and my ideal client has shifted with that. And even with my clients, like you'll see their avatar as they evolve in their business, their avatar is constantly changing, and that is fine. In terms of figuring out like who it was, like I said, my biggest mistake was just landing on someone else's page and be like, I like that. I kind of want what they have going on. I'm just going to reproduce this. And that was a really big mistake because the people that they were targeting were not who I was trying to target. They were just trying to grow in terms of, fitness and numbers. And for me, it was more like I wanted to launch my business and focus on customers and clients and showing up for them.
Yeah, so powerful. So in terms of the questions that you ask your clients or have them ask themselves and give themselves answers for, like what would be some of those questions that even our audience, people who are listening, by the way, if you have questions, if you want to ask Ortal a question, make sure you drop that in the comments so that she can respond to that. I'll make sure I tag her if she doesn't see it. So like make sure you write those questions, okay? But in terms of the questions that these people who are listening can ask themselves to figure out that perfect client or target avatar, like what would they ask themselves?
So honestly, I'll even break it down for you even quick, like in a shorter way.
Sure.
Usually your ideal client, your ideal, follower, avatar, whatever term you want to use, is you in the past. It could be you a year ago. It could be you 3 years ago. And so the reason you started this business is because you've probably figured out the solution to whatever problem you have. And now you want to help other people. Look back at where you were a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. What were the things that you were struggling with? What problems did you have that you were just dying for a solution for? What were you struggling with? What are the things that spoke to you that you found interesting, that you currently find interesting? These are all things that you can think about in order to figure out what you want to put out there into the online world to attract these people to your page and really get them to stick. Because it's not enough to just get them to show up. We need them to constantly keep showing up and like engaging with our content.
Yeah, what is it that like builds a raving fan? Someone who like absolutely loves your stuff and keeps coming back. Once you identify them, then you could probably put out good content for them. But I mean, there's so much great content out there. What keeps people coming back and becoming a raving fan?
And that ties back to the first pillar of what you said this morning is the authenticity. Like I said, there's only one of you. Like I know this is so cliche, and you've probably heard this a million times, guys, but there is only one of you. Only you find certain things funny. Only you phrase things a certain way. And people connect with that. And obviously, you've gone through things in life that people can relate to and they can connect to. And obviously, like for me, I worked a bunch of 9 to 5s that I hated, which is why I launched my own business. That's something that a lot of people can connect to. And once you share that and you show up authentically online, it's easier for people to kind of interact with you, engage with you, and then literally fall in love with you online because you're speaking to them. You're just like their best friend, but you're online. And so that's really the best way that I found to get a follower to turn into a fan and into like an online friend even.
Beautiful. Is there such thing as being too authentic?
I wouldn't say there's being too authentic. I think there's such a thing as TMI. There are certain things that you don't share online. Like on my page, I've been in a relationship for almost 5 years. I don't share that on my page. First of all, it has nothing to do with my brand. Secondly, I don't like exposing that side of myself online because I've seen the negative effects of it. And so, for example, if you're a health and fitness coach, you can talk about your struggles. You can talk about, things that you've done to overcome them. I wouldn't necessarily spill out every aspect of your life online because, first of all, people don't really care. And secondly, like, there's some things that just have nothing to do with your business. Don't muddy the waters with it.
Is there certain things that you would recommend about sharing, like vulnerable stories or like kind of deep stuff that doesn't seem as quote unquote like safe to share because we don't know what people will think about us, that kind of thing? How do we know if it's in the right direction?
So that's a really great question. Yes, to respond to that, being vulnerable online is 100% important. I know it might open you up to some criticism. But like I said, if you're not making up polarizing conversations, it's just not going to work. Like you're not going to have good engagement on your page. And so at some point you're going to have to take a stance and kind of, pick one side or the other. Right. In the same regard though, like I said, there's some things that are TMI, and if it doesn't have to do with your business, if you're just sharing this to kind of word vomit online, and it doesn't contribute to your business, people can't connect to it in a way that would convert them from, just a follower into like a friend or building that trust relationship with your online community, don't share it. Yeah. Like nobody cares what banana you eat this morning. It's fine.
That's powerful. And I think it goes back to what you said about your brand. Is it in alignment with your brand? Is what you're sharing, is it inspiring for the people who love your content and love your message? And you can share, hey, I used to be like this, and this is like my low point. This is who I used to be, and now look at what I've created. So wherever you're at, don't worry. I get you. I get what you're going through. I get what you're experiencing. And then another thing I heard is to ask yourself right before you're about to share, is like, does this make me feel good and empowered, or do I feel like in fear and in scarcity when I'm about to share this, and I'm like worried about what people think? Because if you're standing in your truth and owning your truth, then you'll be like, I'm putting this out because I know it'll make a difference for at least one person.
100%. You just literally said it perfectly. Yes. Yes to all that.
I love it. I love it. So as far as like your learning, how did you like learn how to grow faster? Like what would you say helped you grow faster with your content?
Okay. I love that question. This is literally one of my favorite questions to answer. Okay. So first of all, consistency. Yeah. Again, I know this sounds cliche, but I can't emphasize this enough. If I could have like a flashing sign above my head that says consistency just all day, that's what it would be. That is the number one tip. Even if your strategy is flawed, even if your hashtags are not on point, even if you have no idea what you're doing with Insta stories and IGTV, if you show up consistently, that is really the key thing. And a lot of times you'll see people that will have everything else in place, but they show up so sporadically. They'll post once every 4 days or once a week. It's like, you can't build trust with someone if they can't rely on you. Like your audience knows every week they're going to see you at the same time. They build that trust. Same thing online, guys. If you don't show up like consistently, if there's no trust built there, like people are just not going to follow you. They're going to get sick of it and just unfollow you. So that would be my number one thing, consistency.
And it's funny because when you think about like growing fast, like you think about, well, I got to do more and more and more, and it's not so much more. It's about the tempo. It's about the pace. It's about trust. Because if someone can trust that you're going to be there when you say you're going to be there or consistently, then they're more inclined to say, I can count on this person. And in a world of like everything's being magic bullet, something's here one moment and then gone the next, if they can see that they can count on you and you have a track record and they can depend on you, like Ortal with, like how long you've been creating content and just like what you do is like so consistent, the energy that you put out, the great pictures, the great quality, like always just you're like radiant, and I think that people can count count on you for that, so that they want to keep following you and keep seeing, hey, what's the next picture going to be? What's the next thing that she's sharing about going to be? I think it's really powerful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And also you touched on something. It's the consistency also builds that trust, which is what you were mentioning. And that trust converts into clients, guys. Like I know a lot of the people watching this are entrepreneurs. If people don't trust you, even on a subconscious level, trust you enough that you're going to show up every day online, they're not going to trust you enough to buy from you. It's really that simple. And I know it might seem like a bit of a leap, because if you have an amazing product, why wouldn't they trust you? It's because you haven't built that foundation through little things like showing up on Instagram every day to the bigger things, which is actually converting them into clients and them trusting you that you're going to deliver on what you say you are going to deliver.
That's true. It's true. It's like the micro things add up to the big sale, so to speak, or the big commitment. If someone can't count on you for the little things, how can they count on you when they're about to invest $1,000 or $10,000 or however much money into your programs, into your coaching, into your courses? So I think that's super powerful, is prioritizing the small things on a daily basis, because over time that leads to someone wanting and trusting to make the buying decision.
100%. 100%, no questions.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. So what inspired you to create a course? Like, why did you go the route of creating a course to help people, really attract clients and grow their Instagram and become an Instagram guru themselves?
Well, honestly, it's because the me 3 years ago wished there was a course like this online. I really did. And I was looking, and I can't even tell you how much money I invested in courses and tutorials. None of them really covered all the bases that I needed covered. And so some would focus just on hashtags. Some would focus just on how to edit pictures. It's like, I wanted something that had everything, the hashtags, the pictures, the story, the algorithm, literally from A to Z. And so that's why I was kind of like frustrated. And from that, the Instagram Guru course kind of came up, and I just created it. I just literally threw every single bit of knowledge that I have about Instagram into that course, so that people have that solution all wrapped up in one nice little package.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I know one of our friends, Petya, she went through your course. She got to go through it, and she got like her perfect client for like a year of coaching because of your course, because like she started using better hashtags. She started, having a better presentation online, and she had like experience in social media, but she didn't have like it all put together and go through the work how you presented it in the course. And she got like a huge result from it. So I think that's so awesome that like right out of the bat, you're producing results for people.
Yes, I was so thrilled when she emailed me and she let me know. I was just like, I was standing at the light at Trader Joe's, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes! When I saw that you got the client. I wish I could say that, she's like one of the only success stories. She's not, but she just made me so, so happy. I'm so, so proud of her. And like you said, she did have experience before, and this just kind of, up-leveled her page to the next level, which is just, it made me so happy. So happy.
I think it's cool because no matter where people are at, whether they're at the very, very beginning, they don't know very much, like you hold their hand and walk them through that process. Or if they're people are like, hey, I know I got a lot going on, but I feel like something's missing. Like your course is that comprehensive thing that can help them, find the missing link and like complete the formula so that they can have a powerful Instagram presence and have it convert into clients for them.
Yes, I have people that just started off their Instagram as like 200 people, maybe like 50 followers. Wow. And I also have people that have over 30K, 50K that have taken the course. And there's just little things, like you said, that fill in those puzzle pieces, which really puts together the big picture and makes your page a success.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I love it. So in terms of people like really growing their own Instagram, I'm curious how important do you feel stories are to to really getting clients from their Instagram? Is it essential, or can they just do it with the Instagram feed?
Oh my gosh, no, it is essential. Okay, so let's break it down, kind of the difference between the two. Your feed is the first thing that people see. They land on your picture, they read your caption, and they're super excited and they love you. And that is great. They get to see one side.
People build this online following. How important was offline? How important was like real world stuff to getting your Instagram started? Is it possible to like just build something completely online, or do you recommend both, or how would people go about that?
So ideally, if you can do both, that's great, of course. For a lot of people, that's just not an option. And for me, it wasn't an option. I live in a really, really small town outside of LA. I love it because there's never any traffic here. But Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of people within my demographic here. So yes, it is possible to build it entirely online. You definitely don't need to be like going out and mingling. With that being said, if you can up-level yourself personally by going to events, going to conferences, going to get-togethers and masterminds and groups, that always helps. It's not just helping in the sense that you're meeting more people. You're also learning. You're acquiring new knowledge. And it could be in your field, it could be not in your field. Anything that you learn is going to benefit you in some way. That's a big belief of mine. There's no lesson that is like a bad lesson. And so if you can go out and you can mingle and you can go, like I said, to these masterminds, you are only going to benefit from it. So ideally, yes, doing offline and online is great, but if you can't, you can 100% just do it online. That's not something that should stop you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think that perfectly transitions into why we go offline is because it's easy to connect. It's easy to meet people who are like-minded. It's easy to, share ourself, and we get to learn, hey, am I sharing powerfully? Is it effective? Are people getting what I'm saying? And also, I think one of the biggest benefits is finding other people to like really attract into our tribe or our inner circle. So I'm curious, how has having like an inner circle played a role in you growing your own Instagram? And in terms of strategic partners and people like that, strategic alliances to help us grow our Instagram and online following and get more clients, how did that play into your strategy, or how do you recommend people use that?
So it really breaks down into two. I'm going to take that, and it's not just growing your Instagram, but it's also your business. And so the strategic alliances, I'll start with the business, that I had for my business were key. I cannot tell you how important it is to invest in a mentor, invest in multiple mentors, invest in multiple people that can help you get to where you want to go. If it weren't for my mentors, I've hired one that I started off with when I was first working with her, and then another one afterwards. And they're expensive, no doubt, but they are so worth it. Find yourself someone that is where you want to be and work with them. They will save you time, frustration, money. Like, they will just save it all. They will help you shortcut your way to success. And so that has been literally one of the biggest keys when it comes to growing my business. I couldn't have done it without my mentors, and I will 100% say that. Beautiful. I would probably not be where I am without them.
Agreed.
And so strategic alliances for your business in terms of mentorships, like I said, the masterminds and in collaborating with other people, so important. Now on Instagram as well, let's not forget, Instagram is a social platform. Totally. And again, even if you can't meet these people one-on-one or meet them face-to-face, you can still collaborate with them online. You can find people within your niche, other pages or coaches within your niche that you can share a similar audience with. Do shout-outs, go on lives together, have Q&As, you show up on their podcast, they come up on your YouTube channel. Like, our world is so connected that the distance doesn't have to limit you. And so, yes, even on Instagram, it is very important to have those key partnerships in place because you're not going to be able to target everybody. Instagram has like 80 million people on it.
It's crazy. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. So like what would you say is a way to approach, let's say, someone who has a bigger audience and more influence than you? How do you approach that so that they want to work with you or collaborate or kind of share their platform and you share yours, even though yours may not be exactly where theirs is or as big as theirs?
Great question. I would like to let you guys know, first of all, followers are not everything. In today's Instagram world, what brands and people actually care about more is your audience breakdown. What is your ratio of men to women? Where are they located? A lot of businesses and even, online businesses like myself, we want to work with specific locations. Like, I speak English. I can't work with someone that is not from an English-speaking nation. And so therefore, like, I have like location targeting. And so even if your following is not where you want it to be or where this other person's is, look at the things that you guys share in common. Do you think you have a similar target audience? Are they trying to target, women between the ages of so-and-so in this niche? If so, and you have those women on your page, reach out to them. Send them screenshots of your audience insights. Send them screenshots of your engagement insights. A lot of times, big pages seem intimidating and nobody wants to approach them, but they can actually use the help from smaller pages like you because you're getting visibility in an area that they're having a hard time gaining access to. So don't let the numbers intimidate you. See what you have in common. Think about ways that you can propose it that it will be beneficial for them and for you as well. And go ahead, just do it. Send them an email. The worst they can say is no.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. And I think that that goes into like this relentlessness of believing in your brand, believing in what you have, believing in your audience, you know, like that they're highly engaged. I think that's a can be a challenge for people too, is like they have number shame. They feel like they don't have enough. They don't have it, right?
I love that number shade. Yes. I'm totally tracking that. That is
Use it. Use
I
it.
love that.
Yeah,
That is
it's
great.
like what you have is worthy, you know, and if they say yes, great, then you get to, you know, play with them in their quote unquote sandbox in their profile,
Right.
and if they want to go into yours, then awesome, you know, that's a really great win-win. If not, then also you can use that as feedback and ask, hey, what would it take for me to be able to work with you? What would it take for you to want to come on my podcast or my Instagram and do a live, whatever it might be? Like that's
Yeah.
good feedback for you to know, hey, what are these people really looking for? What's important to them? Is it the targeting? Is it the demographics? Is it the, you know, reach? Is it the engagement? Is it the number of comments and likes? Like what is it for them? So I think that that's super important to know as well.
Yes, and also kind of piggybacking off of that, when you guys want to work with brands, I know a lot of people watching this are entrepreneurs, and online, like it's inevitable, you're going to want to work with brands, and it's another stream of income
Yep.
or revenue source that you can have on the side. Why not utilize that? Reach out to brands that you want to work with, that you think you can promote effectively and authentically. Don't
Mm,
just go out and try to promote anybody that will give you money.
right.
um, and reach out to the brands. If they say no, like you said, follow up with them and see why not. Is it the numbers that I'm missing, or is it just maybe you didn't share that side of your profile? You
Mm,
didn't, let them know that you actually have access to this thing what they're looking for. And so don't let the fact that this brand has 3 million followers and you only have like 100.
mm.
Don't let that deter you. Still reach out. Go ahead. Put in the work. I guarantee you it will benefit you in some way.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things that influencers and big name brands and stuff like that admire most is persistence. So if you show up and you have 100 followers and you say, hey, you know, what can I do? And they say, you know, we're not ready yet, but here's some things that you can do to grow. And then you come back again in a couple months with, let's say, you know, a couple thousand, and you're like, hey, you know, I've grown
Yes.
my following. Can I do it yet? And they're like, you know, still not quite there, but keep going. Like, we love the progress. We love seeing you grow. So I think it's like just being in communication and not being ashamed about it, but being willing to take the feedback, being willing to take the no and why, like openly, and say, cool, like you don't want it yet? Cool, I get it. And you will one day. What do I have to do to make sure that I get to that point and you want to work with me? And you just keep that relationship building, because I think that they might make exceptions for people who are in constant communication and who are saying, hey, you know, this week I did this, I'm doing this, how are you guys? I love that you put out that. So keep building, focus on the
Yes.
relationship rather than just like the one off kind of thing.
100%. And I can actually speak from experience. One of my sponsors, they have a certain quota with which, you need to have this certain number of followers.
Mhm.
And I know a ton of people that ended up getting sponsored with them because they showed them love online. They bought the product. They were
Mm,
persistent. What can I do? How can I promote you? What can I, what is it that I can do? They
mm,
kept, emailing them and talking to them, and the conversation and the relationship was built. And then they got sponsored. Even though
mm.
they didn't meet the initial criteria, they still got sponsored. And so, yeah, 100% what you said. Don't give up.
I love it. I love it. And you know, one of the other things that I know, Ortal, is you have like a big following. You're putting out great content all the time. So how do you manage your time with like doing this, with building an incredible, you know, Instagram following? How do you do that?
So I would like to lie and say that I'm busy 24/7 and I just hustle, 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 but that is not at all the truth. That was me like last year, and I just got burnt out all the time.
Yeah.
It was not effective.
Mm.
So guys, please stop glorifying the hustle. That's the first thing I want to say. Secondly, I've gotten really good at time management. So for me, I will block out 2 hours of my day every day where that is when I do work. It could be creating content. It could be a photo shoot that I need to be at. It could be filming my YouTube videos, editing it, whatever.
Mm.
I work for those 2 hours, and then whatever I don't complete in those 2 hours, unless it's super, super important, I delay.
Mm.
It's really that simple. I have 3 key things that I need to accomplish every day. Usually it doesn't take me 2 hours. But on the off chance that it does, I meet those 3 things and I am done. I value my time a lot, and so I'm very protective of it. I do need a lot of downtime too, and I allow myself to have that.
Mm.
I'm not the type of person that can work 24/7. I just get burnt out. And so I think that a lot of people are like that too. They think they need to be working all the time. And then what ends up happening is you're sitting in front of your computer for 2 hours. you finished a third of your task and you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube watching puppies or cats or God knows what else. It's just not effective that way. It's really not. And so that would be the biggest thing. And then the second thing would be to outsource whatever it is that I don't want to do or is too time consuming. Like editing YouTube videos, I don't have time for that. Like I just can't. I go cross-eyed, I can't stare at the screen. So I outsource it to somebody and they do it. And it's really not that expensive. So yeah, those would be my two main things for, how I manage my time and don't go crazy.
How did you get started with outsourcing and like finding good team members who can help you with those tasks?
That was a lot of trial and error. The main things that I outsource are things that I've already kind of picked up along the way. A lot of things I started off with Fiverr. Fiverr was great. I still use someone for Fiverr to edit my YouTube videos. It's kind of like a cheap way to enter the market. You see what works, you see what doesn't, and then you kind of know what it is you're really looking for so that you can go to the other person and really, you'll pay a little bit more, but they're on your team. They're part of your team. They're there for you all the time. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. What would you say what are you most proud about yourself for accomplishing with growing this online business and, growing this big following on Instagram? Like what aspect of the journey would you say is something you're most proud about?
Okay. Yeah, this is going to sound really cliche, but I am 100% being honest when I say this. It is the mindset shift that I had believing in myself. It took me so long to get over that imposter syndrome. A lot of people, when they start off, if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically you start off in a business and you're like, why am I good enough to do this? I don't have all the criteria. I don't have all the credentials. And it's like, yeah, I don't have all the credentials for Instagram. I don't work for Instagram. Like Zuckerberg didn't give me the algorithm code. Like I don't have all that, but I figured it out and I know a way that can help people. And so that was kind of what I suffered from, was imposter syndrome at the beginning. And that was the biggest thing I'm proud of, is just kind of getting over that. It'll still rear its little head occasionally, but just getting over that little hump, that lack of belief in myself, the constant doubting, the will I be able to do this? Won't I be able to do this? Yeah, that is the biggest thing. And it's also been the most important thing for getting my business to where it is and kind of up-leveling myself repeatedly.
Totally. Yeah, you got to keep like confronting that small like voice, or the doubt voice, the fear voice, the insecurity, and it's like you got to keep confronting it and growing bigger and bigger. And at every level, they say that there's a new devil, there's a new adversary, there's a new conflict that we have to face to break through, to grow, to like rise above that plateau or that level that we're at. So I really acknowledge you, Ortal, for being the person who overcomes every barrier, every obstacle, going through all the experimentation phases when you're probably like, man, like I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just like taking one day at a time. And you probably had incredible highs and awesome things happening in the beginning, and then like deep lows, and you're like, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? So I really acknowledge you for getting through it all, and for the inspiration that you are for so many people today, because like you are just absolutely inspiring.
You're wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So in terms of like 2019, what do you see? One, I want to know like what you think is going to be important in Instagram coming in 2019. And then I also want to hear, in terms of your own brand and business development and growth, what your focus is going to be there. So let's start with Instagram. What do you see in 2019?
Okay. In 2019, Instagram, the content is going to have to hit another level. So the dark, iPhone selfies in the corner, in the bathroom, I don't know what, that's not going to work anymore. It really isn't. Excuse me. High quality content, very, very, very important. The market is going to get saturated, whatever niche you're in. I promise you there is someone that is up-leveling their content. And if you want to get their clients, you're going to have to do the same. So invest in the camera, invest in a photographer, figure out a way to make your content bright, appealing, visually appealing, but also provide value. It's not going to cut it anymore to just, have pretty pictures. You need to attract people with, some form of value, education, entertainment, information, something to get them to stick to your page instead of bouncing onto the next page, which also has very pretty pictures.
Right. Yeah. So it's like the pictures have to get better. Like your own personal brand has to be more attractive, and also the content, the writing has to be better. So before we go into your focus for 2019 for yourself, I want to hit on those 2 points a little bit more deeply. What makes a good picture, and then also what makes good content?
Oh, I love talking about this. Okay, so a good picture. Obviously, it needs to be bright. People need to see you, unless you're like a travel blogger or your business has to do with kind of macro zoomed out pictures. They need to see you. They need to be able to see your face ideally. That generates a lot more likes, and actually studies have been done on this where if in pictures people see your face, you get I think 30 to 35% more engagement than you would if they can't see your face, or it's just like or it's just like a really like good body pic. So your pictures have to be bright, and there's a bunch of softwares that you can use to edit this, but they're free. Even if you take pictures on your phone, a ton of the phones now, anything above an iPhone 6 has an excellent camera. You don't need to go out and buy a DSLR. Make sure you're in a well-lit room. There's colors behind you if that's what you're going for, or a simple backdrop, kind of like what you see here. It's all just white. Make you the focus of the picture. Make you pop. We don't want you to get lost in the picture. So bright, colorful, vibrant. And if you guys need help, feel free to shoot me a DM. I have tons and tons of examples of good photos. I'd be happy to help you.
You do.
Thank you. And then in terms of a caption, so captions really break down into 3 things. You have to provide value in some way. So you're either providing value, we'll talk about this in a second, you have education or entertainment. If you're a meme account or your thing is all about being funny, your entertainment, that's your value. If you are a page that can provide value through information, which is what I do, which is what I recommend a lot of people doing, it's easier in terms of search engines. Provide value, provide information, educate people, something along those lines. And then obviously if you're just if you're a photographer or if there's no value that you can provide in terms of information, focus on the pictures. Make your pictures very, very high quality so that they stand out amongst all the other pictures within that niche, within that hashtag, within that category, whatever.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So have the pictures stand out. They got to be vibrant. And then in the captions, make sure that it's adding value. And I'm sure that will also tie back into knowing who your perfect client or avatar is. And then you can give them content that will help them. I love how you said earlier, help them achieve their goal. Whatever is their biggest, like most hairy, audacious goal kind of thing, the most important thing to them, how can you help them take steps to achieve that? And especially I think over time you can start attacking, so to speak, or highlighting different parts of the process of the journey. And over time, you can collect all that information and posts and captions that you write and put it together. And then you'll have an outline for a course that you can, create more content on and be able to serve people more with. So I think that that's really cool too, to help them achieve their goal.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. So as far as 2019 for you, Ortal, what is on the horizon? What are you excited about?
I'm so excited. Okay, so 2019, obviously, we have what's currently going on is we have the mentorship and we have the online course. I actually just improved the Instagram Guru course. I've added more information based on the new algorithm because we all know how frustrating that is. And some new modules that people can engage with and they're going to find very, very beneficial. So that's in terms of the course. In 2019, I'm super excited because I'm going to be launching something called a mastermind. Now, I haven't offered this up until now just because I didn't really want to kind of muddy the waters with all the other offers that I had. But we're going to be launching masterminds. It's going to be me coaching a group of people. So it's not just you dealing with the struggles by yourself. You're going to have a community of people that are also struggling with what you're going through. And we're all going to figure out the solution together. So that is what I'm super excited about. I'm still working on it. So I'm hoping to launch it around Feb or March 2019. But fingers crossed.
That's exciting. What had you get excited to do the mastermind route?
Honestly, it's because my one-on-one mentorship, there were too many applicants. And obviously, like I said, I value my time. I don't work with more than 5 people at a time because the mentorship is so time-consuming and it's intensive. And I really didn't feel that was fair to other people. So many people were applying and I had to turn them away simply because of my time constraint, which is just not fair to them. And so that's how the mastermind came about. You can help multiple people at the same time because we're all struggling with the same thing, really. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of thought of the mastermind. And I kind of did some market research on it, and people had a very positive response. And so I'm really happy about that.
That's awesome. Super exciting. So we'll get more details on that in a second. I also wanted to ask, where did you come up with the name Workout Unicorn?
Oh my goodness. So like I said, my page, it started off as a fitness one. All the good hashtags were taken. All the good names were taken. I was like, I like working out. And I was really obsessed with unicorns at that time. I have no idea why. They're still my spirit animal, by the way. So I was like, oh, workout, unicorn. Cool, that works.
So awesome. I love it. And then just so, people can get to know you a little bit deeper, what would you say is one thing that most people don't know about you, but you're proud about, or, it's important to you?
Yeah, there's actually two things I'm really proud about. One, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
Wow.
Which a lot of people don't know. They're just like, oh, cool. Yeah. It took me a lot of time to get that belt, and I love it. I love that thing.
Wow.
And the second thing is I served in the Israeli military for 3 years. I was in intelligence, which a lot of people also don't know about me. I speak 3 languages thanks to that military service.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So deep. And I'm sure there's so much even more in your journey. And I think that's like the cool stuff, like when we get to bring out these highlights of our journey, the different things that we've accomplished, the different places that we've been in the world, the different experiences and wisdom and lessons that have, come to us. It's so awesome to share that with our audience and be able to connect more. And I know, Ortal, our audience who's listening and watching right now, whether it's live or replay or the podcast, they want to know how they can continue their journey with you, because you are a freaking powerhouse. You are a master with Instagram and growing people's Instagrams and producing results, and they want to know, how can they get access to your course? How can they take that next step with you? What do they do, Ortal?
Awesome. So the first thing is, you guys, please come connect with me online. Check me out on Instagram. It is workout_unicorn. You can also find me on YouTube. Both are business channels, and so they are all about Instagram and growing your business. And then, of course, if you heard during this podcast and what I said spoke to you and the course sounds appealing, head over to my Instagram. There's a link in there. Or you can just go to forgot my website, workoutunicorn.com/Instagram group. That will redirect you to the course. You will have all the information there.
Amazing. Amazing. Ortal, you are absolutely incredible. Thanks so much for being on here. Thank you for your light.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're a rock star. I'm so excited to see next year thrive and grow and possibly be at an event with you. That would be so awesome. Yeah. So, keep up the heat, keep up the great work, and, just keep doing the great love-based, service-based, content that you're doing in the vision that you're bringing to life and helping other people bring their visions to life, their passion, their message, their purpose. You're totally igniting people. You're a catalyst of people stepping into their leadership and into their influence. So thank you so much for being that for the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. I really can't thank you enough.
Awesome. Thanks, Ortal. We'll see you soon, okay?
For sure. Bye-bye.
Bye.